I'm gonna call the meeting to order, 11 o'clock. Roll call, please. Gary?
Yes. Mrs. Catruso.
Here.
Mr. Lee.
Present.
Miss Moran. Absent. Anthony Pereira.
Here.
Mrs. Smith.
Here.
And Mrs. Valadeo.
Here.
And Gary Munoz here.
All right,
Okay, we're good.
we have a quorum. We're gonna go into closed session and be back in about 5 minutes, so we'll let you know.
Okay.
We're back in session, 11:13, and on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, approval of the agenda. Any changes, Mark?
No changes.
No changes, but a motion, please.
I'll make that motion, approve the agenda.
And
second it.
Seconded by Lee, motion by Munoz. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. All right. We are ready to go, boys.
All right, hi everybody.
Hi.
Where would you like us to sit, stand?
Wherever you would like to sit or
I'll give you
stand.
this table.
I just need to get a copy of the report, are there extra copies?
Oh, yeah, I think they all,
Everybody has a
everybody has a
copy.
copy.
I have a couple copies right there for you guys.
Oh.
Right underneath the agenda. Perfect.
You know, and to kind of give a little introduction to the presentation, if you recall, last year we started this process. Now, what's interesting is that this process started in the midst of a very difficult negotiation cycle. I mean, it was interesting that now they got some good work done, but we said, okay, come back and keep working with people now, after everything calmed down, let's come back and just kind of get more voices and stuff like that. And we were able to do that. And a lot of the stuff, a lot of the data, stayed the same. I mean, in terms of it really wasn't that much of a difference. But I just wanted, before we went forward in this process and kind of moved too quickly, we want to let the board kind of get kind of a summary of what we found. So that's why I want to do this.
Thank you, Dr. Marshall. Maria. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
It's a pleasure to be back again. Let me just tell you, this is a draft report. It's, you know, if you look at straw, wood, iron, this is getting pretty close to done because we've done so many iterations over the past year, and we really appreciate all your work in advance. I can say up front that key and critical is your input out of the gate. You know, like I like to say, you got the first bite of the apple every time around. So hopefully you're going to see some high reliability and validity in the words that you'll see in the draft, okay? So I'm going to walk you through it. I'm not going to be didactic and just lecture you, but just these are kind of reminders here. The background and introduction, really this is about the why. You know, there are organizations, particularly districts, that always react, or they wait for the next memo to come down from the State Department, and they're distracted a lot. You get these asteroids that come in that are just awful these kinds of days, like COVID, right, and other things. And then you have, I don't want to say it roughly, but you're just absorbed with things like the importance of negotiations with your collective bargaining units. And it's really easy to get caught in that milieu and just react. You have a superintendent that gets it, that says, yeah, we got to take care of business, but we also have to look at the horizon and constantly think about where we're going. What do we visualize in the future? What is our mission when we get up in the morning and put our boots on the ground? And what do we believe in? What are our core values? Because people, boards, superintendents, parents, goals, they come and go, but the culture lasts. And when organizations articulate their beliefs, and that drives so many hidden rules and mores and the like, that's really what Los Banos is all about. So I applaud you for stepping back and going deep into that. Mark, do you want to say anything about?
If we just go to a report, just go to each section, I'll speak to certain sections.
Okay.
Perfect.
Maria?
Keep going. I'll hide
The other thing too, I think, is a strategic plan is your friend. Because what it does is it keep you focused. It does not allow the urgent to displace the important. We're here for kids. The strategic plan is centered on children, on your students, right? And it's a way to gauge, focus, and align your money, your time, and your energy. As such, boards that are highly focused on the future actually tie in strategic directions with their board agendas and make sure those go up front because they're the important and not the urgent. It keeps you focused. It also keeps you aligned in the sense that, oh my gosh, right? We got the locally controlled accountability plan. We have SIPSAs. We have all kinds of competing things. So it foots to the LCAP, which you'll see, and it gives a really solid frame for sites in their site councils to create their plan. And this is a good way to spend money, time, and energy of the board. Would you agree? I think you did, otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here. We use a very sophisticated improvement science model. It lends itself from everything from Six Sigma to design thinking at Stanford. We emphasized the quantitative and we emphasized the qualitative. So if you go through here, we've gone through the cycle before, but Page 2, thank you. We've gone through the cycle before, but you can see it has flavors of design thinking, of total quality, process improvement, and the like. The first stage is a big one, and that's the curiosity stage. That's where we spent a lot of time trying to interpret reality in a really non-punitive way. And we brought together the steering group, you know who they all are. Great leaders. They worked so many days on this to really seek to understand what the values, where the direction people wanted to go and the like. And we used what we call a mixed methodology approach. Now, I was driving here and I want to say, my hat's off to you because you're already a data-driven organization. And for a board, I think that's impressive. So your dashboard that is populated in your LCAP, your data was there. We just had to really take a look at it, pretty much come up with the same conclusions for opportunity for improvement using this quantitative data as you have. Where it became different for us, you see some pages with qualitative data there, and that's just a sample of them. Where it became important for us is the qualitative analysis. And the qualitative analysis was important because we need to listen to people's thoughts and feelings and what their story is. I am so sorry. I got a new phone and I can't figure out how to turn it off. Damn, I'm gonna turn it off. Here. And so we really spent a lot of time listening to people. We had over 40 interviews with different stakeholder groups, including the community and the like. We had, and those were the days of Zoom. We had, I'm gonna turn this off, sorry. We had upwards to 10 focus groups. And then we went back, as Mark was saying, because we felt like we needed to take a deeper dive. You want to say a few things?
Well, what I was going to say
this?
about that part was that it was good prep work before we came and spent time with you all. So this curiosity phase is really about surfacing kind of the as is, and our role was to get folks comfortable with thinking about what is it that they believe, what are their thoughts and feelings as it relates to experiences. And what we're trying to model is this notion of how do you name things that you care about. And not only were we getting information qualitatively from them, but that process of their engagement, I have to say, just reflecting the kinds of commitments and community regard that we would love to see in a process like this. So lots of positive intentionality, constructive reflection, and really, really helped us then get to a place qualitatively to know how we were going to best use your time when we got together and went through our exercises. So that pre-work was foundational for us really sort of being teed up for the right kinds of input that we needed to launch this process using you all as, you know, the ultimate governance structure. So that I think was helpful. And then as we get into page 7, Maurice, we can talk a little bit about qualitative as well as Dr. Marshall, if there's anything that you
Well,
want to
I think
add
I
in.
wanted to go back about, we found out this week about, I think I've been saying this previously, the results of this data, the quantitative data will be updated because the results were they were just released, I think this week. I think they released on Wednesday. That data was released. And pretty much like, we predicted, basically our results were just like the state. It mirrored the state's, because that's I always like to look at when data comes out. How do we compare with the county? What's the pattern? And pretty much the state, as far as like reading, dipped a little bit, and you saw a little growth in math, which is interesting. We did a deeper dive. I think only 2 districts, and I'm curious to look at those 2. I may have my districts wrong, but I think it was Modesto City and Sacramento. Those are the only 2 that I saw. Those were the only 2 anomalies that I saw that basically had where both areas went up. The rest of them either went down or they followed the statewide trend or were flat. But those are 2 outliers. And I don't know what they're doing in those districts. I do know there's a connection because the superintendent in Modesto used to be in Sacramento, so I don't know what they're doing in this. You know.
Be interesting to find out, how about Merced County, how do we compare?
Oh, yeah, we're right on point. In fact, some of our schools, I need to go and like what I do is, for November, we'll do is, I always have like a little chart that I create where we compare our sites to the county average and then the state averages. And I do it by grade level. And then you get to see how our schools function like throughout, like we compare like in the county, how many have exceeded the county average, how many good schools exceeded the state average. I do, you know, the last time before COVID, that's what we used to do. So I'm gonna do that. But Merced County, oh yeah, we did very well. You look at Pacheco High School, I mean, I've had a chance to look at the rest of them that deeply. But Pacheco High School was like 2nd of all the high schools in Merced County. And so you look at you have to go deep and go through, I mean, and go through school by school. And so that changes, you know, that's new data. As far as our EL classification data, all your data has to be, since now it's public. I mean, a lot of times you may get stuff like that, they had access to the raw data, previously, but there was no context. If you don't have like the county score and the state score, you're not looking at anything. It's only effective if, like if somebody gave you raw data, let's suppose our data was what it was, and the whole state went up, or the county went up. Then you have this, what happened in Los Angeles? But if you look at our trend being the same, but the other misnomer is that right now what you have going through, all of the kids that you have cycling through, those are distance learning students. The kids, if you go back when distance learning, that first year we had distance learning, they're in 3rd grade now. And so it's gonna take a few years for them to cycle through, because that was an experiment that did not work.
This is fine.
No.
This is fine.
I mean, we tried our best under the circumstances, but
Well, it was what we had to do.
right, but it didn't,
We had a choice.
it wasn't, they say it's gonna take years to kind of get past that. And so we're gonna have to just cycle through, and that's what's happening. You see statewide, if you look at the CDE's narrative, as far as they have to give a reason for that. Basically, they said that COVID is still, and it is. It's that group that's cycling through.
So that 3rd graders, they were in kindergarten,
If you go back 2 years, yeah, that's
so it's 2 years back.
Yeah.
So is it 1st grade or kindergarten those are 3rd grades in? They would be in 1st grade?
My granddaughter's in 5th, and her first full year of distance learning was her 2nd grade year. Because they had a partial in
Yeah.
1st grade
right.
and first full
Yeah,
year
and it's, and so
2nd grade.
so those kids gonna have to cycle through. Is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, because kindergarten first, those are so
There you go,
important
those are
for
formative
reading
years.
development. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah, it was just, we did the best we could, but it's gonna take years to kind of get past it. And I think if you can replay it, going back in time, everybody said that, I have speeches at Los Angeles High School to say this, that what we should have done But that first year, we tried to come back physically, like with all the testing, and all the protocols with the, you know, the testing and all that kind of stuff, you know, with the face coverings and all that stuff that first year, in person.
Yeah, push it back.
Yeah. That's what a lot of teachers said, that basically that first year, we should, you know, that is opposed to distance learning. That first
Yeah,
year.
I agree, but hey, you can't make that decision back. So now, our next group of third graders who come in should be,
They should be back, right, yeah.
we should see an increase.
Yeah, oh yeah, and then also, what I also want to speak to too, is I don't know if we've had this in the past, but Dr. Ritchie and his, in the Ed Services Department, they use like the MAP assessments and stuff, they use those protocols. And basically, it predicted, you know, down to, you know, we had estimates before the results even came out. He said to us, like, those, like rough estimates, this was, your results will come out like this. Reading is gonna be flat, and then you're gonna go up in math. And that's exactly what happened. So they're predicting that next year is gonna be the year you'll see big bump, the same formula.
The group that we lost in learning, is there gonna be more support for that group?
They're trying, yeah, what they've done is, that's why the state, I talked about like the learning loss monies and stuff like that. That's why they put all that in place, to try to continue to support you for those students.
We'll have support for maybe
Yeah.
a year, maybe next year?
Right, and I mean, if you look at it from a timing standpoint, that goes until 2028. Yeah.
Even though we may need to put just a
Extra
thought.
dollars in that group?
No, I mean, if it's the third and fourth grade group, maybe our interventions need to be in third and fourth grade. I hate to say that, because if you don't catch them at the beginning, you're never gonna catch them up, basically, but it sounds like that group's the group that is in dire
Yeah,
need.
but I wanna do, but by the board meeting, I wanna go school like I like to do, because it is fun. You know, I like to go school by school. I take the county average, the state average, grade level by grade level. It takes a little time, but you'll see a nice little picture. So.
Hopefully we can focus on those schools that are not doing so well, maybe.
You know, it just kind of tells you, but it's good to kind of see it visually.
But there will be a plan for what we're gonna do about it?
Yeah, once you get that, then you have to plan, but you have to kind of look at what your data, I mean, the results came out Wednesday, so we need to get there and see, just map it out, but it was what it was, you know, but what I look at is, as far as, you know, the $1 million question, before we go back, is why, you know, and we could have that, I'm sure there are many theories, why did, you know, math, why did math went up a little bit statewide? And reading kind of, you know, dipped. So statewide, what happened? What caused that? Those are the kind of things I like to look at. That's kind of fascinating. What did we do as a state to where?
Because you don't visually need to read to do math.
Right.
I mean.
There are many theories around that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So that's the thing. We just have to update this stuff. So.
Wanted to, yeah.
Right.
So let's go back to the methodology. I really got into it, Maria did. I actually teach methodology at Loyola Marymount University as an affiliated professor there. So this is the type of strategic plan where you just didn't go out and survey people. We really made sure the validity of it was strong, because those who read it on the committee, the steering group, particularly Dr. Marshall, we ensured that they didn't have filters, that they didn't go, no, I don't want to hear that. So in a sense, we're holding up a mirror to all the partners, the educational partners, with the 40 interviews, plus the ones afterwards, as well as the focus group. If you recall, again, you got the first shot. You were all recorded, right? Remember when you were all recorded on things? Well, we recorded all of those Zoom interviews and focus groups, and we did a triangulation of assessing of the qualitative data. So first of all, we took all those words and we used graduate software tools to infer some of the biggest themes, right? The second thing we did is Maria and I poured over it, step 2. The third thing we did is our content person, who's an expert graduate, Joan O'Neill. She went through it. So we took those 3 points and we made sure there were intersections in all the inferences that we made from all of those participatory interviews and focus groups. So as a result, and I'm not going to read these through it, I just felt really good about the validity, like I said, and the reliability because of triangulation of the data.
Well, and just as a reminder, so, you know, starting on page 8, where we have from the initial set of curiosity stage, we had done a board update at one of your meetings, and there was sort of a high-level summary that was mostly on overarching themes, page number 9. But the page 8 and 9 are summarizing in curriculum and instruction, interventions, communication and community, learning environment operations. These were where we were just generally getting in that first seek to understand what are people's experiences, how are they reflecting on where they currently are. And then the nice part about this is we get a chance after we sat down with you and you all set this direction through a series of exercises of the visioning, right? What are we most proud of? What is it that we would be if we had all our hopes and dreams realized? And getting into how do we see values manifest themselves. So you might recall we did a number of different exercises. You were very patient with us in populating your own sort of narrative.
Right, that was our Google Doc, right?
Exactly.
Remember I asked you about a Google Doc? That's the Google Doc that I was asking you about the day of my interview.
Yeah.
Because she'd mentioned I thought we were going to be able to review that. Yes, it was this one, I'm telling you.
No, it was I think it was the one from CSBA.
Well,
we didn't do a Google Doc.
That Google Doc, if you want to look at it, absolutely, because we all looked at it together at the time, and we can go back to it if you'd like to, absolutely.
Well, just because it would have given us kind of a point of reference on some things for us to see where it went from that discussion.
Right.
To where we're at now.
Well, and I'll walk you through a couple of places where that then manifests itself. So based on that experience that we had, and unfortunately we didn't get to interact with you directly, we then designed some exercises that were pretty deep with not only the steering committee, but we went back to the educational partners. We did a couple of days of focus groups, and it was with family members, and then we did cross-pollinated groups of teachers, staff, educators, and went through some exercises based on what we had heard from you all, getting them to think about and share specifically like characteristics that are key to realizing some of these values that you all had kind of surfaced in your input. And that was a really fruitful process for us because there were this act of naming the things that are important based on the direction and insight of you all seeing where this district could go. So if you move towards page, let's get there, page 13, at the bottom there, when we did those exercises with the focus groups, these were some of the things that came about in terms of what we heard them articulate. Around community, students, staff, and families value a community that is student-centered, open-minded, empathetic, accepting, safe, respectful, inclusive, and committed to each other in service of students. The theme of excellence came about. Students, staff, and families ignite an atmosphere of ambition, passion, continuous growth and development, high expectations for academic success, honesty, joy, accountability, and pride in their work roles in the district. Leadership surfaced. Students, staff, and families stand in their own leadership through embodying a sense of creativity, courage, proactiveness, intentionality, service-oriented mindsets, self-reflection, and empowerment of each and every partner, i.e. staff, families, students, and community with whom they engage. Equity was shared as a value. Students, staff, and families embody a culture that operates through the lens of inclusivity, awareness, care, humble inquiry, fairness, social justice mindsets, diversity, and open conversations to promote equitable opportunities for all students. Commitment. Students, staff, and families demonstrate a sense of patience, meaningful collaboration, support, community-centered, kindness, belonging, and inspiration to ensure every student experiences a vibrant journey through the district. So these things that I just read, these are words, these are characteristics, these are values that those participants named, which I thought was important for us to reflect on, to inform the steering committee as they then went through that process of drafting. Does anybody want to add anything to that? That I might have shared there?
Well, so I missed that section, but there's a location, but where did the group of participants come from? Like families, how did you select the families?
We basically did like mass email blast and asked people if they wanted to participate, and basically those that wanted to, and we had a lot of people who were interested in doing this. It was different folks, like parents that reached out to the Parent Square, and it was kind of like if people opted in, they were able to participate in the process.
Pretty large group? Parents?
It was a representative sample. I mean, you always would like more, but it would have been more random. But I think some of the things, I know if you go back, what's interesting, I was looking at some of the stuff that was found, like on the prior pages. I mean, a lot of the stuff that came out in the report, basically stuff that we're dealing with now. You look at some of the comments on page 8 in terms of on curriculum and instruction. Let's go to page 8 for a second. And basically in terms of like how the staff feels about stuff, in terms of, and they were pretty, and the staff was pretty honest about things, and these are not things, this is the truth. I mean, I don't see anything here that's not true as far as that, things that the staff is wanting. But if you look at an issue that we talked about before, like some of the interventions, like the speech and language thing, that's big right now. That popped up. If you look at on page 8, that came up as a concern. If you look at one thing that the staff feels like we had adequate technology and devices, and we are. I mean, this was prior to me. This is Dr. Tejan. That regime set that up. But when distance learning took effect, we as a district, we didn't have a problem. A lot of places across the country had issues getting the devices in kids' hands. We didn't have that problem. We had enough, we had enough devices to where they could just set up a little station at each site, and the parents just went and picked them up. So that was a strength of ours. So it's just interesting that the staff would kind of point that out. Then also you look at the great work that Dr. Severance does at Crossroads with our induction program and stuff like that. If you look at the staff appreciates as far as new teachers feel supported and the amount of PD offered. That came out as one of our strengths. So really there was no, if you look at this, there was no, I felt like all of the data from what you see, even based on like stuff that you brought to my attention, there are no surprises in this document. If you look at some of the stuff that like, as far as like the concerns, like, about safety and about, like especially at your middle school, the number of fights and stuff like that at your middle school and your high school, that's a concern. But that's something that students are saying, that's something that parents are saying too. There was nothing that really jumped out at me as far as the findings that we've not talked about. I don't see anything. If you look at this, look at that. I mean, in terms of, only thing that was kind of interesting is that I think sometimes just because you have one person that thinks a certain way doesn't make it so. So you look at they say as far as operations, they say that facilities, transportation, child nutrition did not come up as a concern. Now you do have one segment out there concerned about the food, but they don't. That group doesn't speak for 11. We have 11,000 students. Is what I'm saying. So sometimes you gotta look at that. Look at that too.
I would say as an observation, as all this feedback was given, people really reflected a sense of sort of constructive input, meaning that they want this to be the best place it can be. And I thought that was really something that speaks to the value of the journey for them, that you're taking them through, the value of a process of engagement. It really, people showed up in really positive, constructive ways, even when they had difficult messages to share. Which, once again, goes towards the care that you all take in trying to build that environment.
Also, great question, Ms. Smith. May I add that when we tried to get parents involved, we actually postponed a couple times, and we even made for a lack of a better word, 2 commercials.
Yeah.
In Spanish and English.
Yeah, and Spanish voiceover and subtitles.
And we
So-
did, for the parents that did come, we did have a translator, which was lovely, because
Yeah.
they got to interact on a number of different levels. We had them do exercises where they were able to work in tabletops and, you know, write out or even draw pictures, and sort of it got them thinking and interacting with each other. And then there were shares to the room, and I think that as well sort of felt like there was connection going on across different experiences within the district, and an ability to kind of share and bond over that activity. So we felt like those that were in the room were really heard.
This is the
Yeah, so why don't you, Maurice, give us at a high level, kind of why do we have the differences between mission, vision, and core values? What's the point?
Can I ask a question on page 10?
Sure.
I'm just looking at, on page 10, the data that we have for, it's showing the data for this year and last year for safety. It's almost increased twice. Almost in every category, except for serious physical injury. I'm just wondering, to me, this is huge, this is a lot, these are big. It tells me that there's a lot of safety issues that we're dealing with right now. Look at the numbers, it's almost twice as much.
Well, one is half year and one's a full year.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at 21, well, half the year, right, but look at the amount of, look where we are right now today, at the half year.
The
It's
serious,
about
the
the
serious,
same.
well, the serious physical injury, I mean, a whole year had 19.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
115.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just wondering,
huge.
yeah.
That's,
So I'm just wondering, is there any plan to, I mean, I know we have a department with some staff, but I'm seeing numbers really increase. Almost in every category.
only in one category. The other categories, 20, dangerous object, 23 half a year, 95 that's not an increase.
Dangerous objects, physical injury is big. It's 15
Well,
already
serious
for
injury is
half a year.
big.
Serious
Yeah.
injury is too. That's what I'm looking at, the serious physical injury. I'm
So-
just wondering.
That's
Right,
only-
so I think what you do is like with the second column, I mean, you look if you multiply the second column times 2,
Right.
Here,
that would give you the, kind of give you a projection.
yeah, we're pretty
And
close.
so
Half a year.
so you can look at the serious physical injury one, that's the one I'm gonna give, I need feedback on that,
Right.
because that's
That's
kind of
huge,
a.
big difference. The
it's
other ones
huge.
are,
Right, but I mean,
that's the
in
same.
terms of, in terms of just to kind of see what data point was that, because that's a very big, that's a huge difference.
So-
The rest of them are more, like, a little bit more in line. Like you look at verbal confrontations, you double it.
Harassment, intimidation.
Right. Right, that's another, okay.
That data should be available now, correct? That-
Yes,
So that all should be able to have a full year,
right,
the second column
Mhm.
anyway.
right.
And then we can have some accurate data.
And we'll get into the strategic directions, and that's what you have to see.
Yes.
Right.
Did we reflect it? It's actually the strategic directions.
And the big thing is not to be trained, basically you put the data out there, the good, bad, and ugly.
Right.
And that's the thing, it's like, you have to be able to take, you have to be able to take the data for what it is and go through it. That's the only way you get better.
And, Mark, are these numbers, are they, a lot of it is pulled from Aries the way it's
Right.
input into Aries, correct?
Correct, and that's what I wanna get more information on, okay, where they pulled it, and that's what I was saying,
Yeah.
that's what I was trying to say earlier.
It's how
Because
it's,
the one that jumps out to me is that one with the 115 and the 19, the rest of them, pretty much if you multiply, you know,
Right.
if one's half
Well,
year, the other's a full year.
Harassment,
Yeah,
intimidation.
that
would
one,
be
that,
another
no,
one.
I just need to see what those numbers
But
change.
how they're
How they were
inputting
pulled.
it, yeah,
Yeah.
too.
So I made a little note there.
Okay, so if you could go to page 14 on the show, on with the show this is it, where you see recommendations, mission, vision, and core values. And I'll just explain what each one is. A mission is more like, I'm gonna be really colloquial with this and just say it's more like when you get up in the morning and put your boots on, what's your mission? Got it. The vision is more future oriented, aspirational. Where do you see yourself on the horizon? I've talked about the core values already. These are huge in terms of culture. Goals, people come and go. Beliefs, culture trumps everything else. Then you'll see the 6 core values. And then on page 16, you'll see strategic directions. SD1 is strategic direction 2. We have 10, which is pretty ambitious. Now, why did we call them directions and not goals? Thought about this for decades with Maria, and the fact is that goals are a little too specific and people misunderstand them when you start talking about site plan goals and LCAP goals. These are at 30,000 feet. These are things that are written generally enough that you can revisit every year. And by the way, strategic directions, this is a living, breathing document. It doesn't mean that these have to be hard-coded for the next 5 to 7 years. You're going to constantly be looking at this plan to see if the focus stacks up with your other plans like LCAP.
Okay, so that's sort of high level, but what we want to do is take a step back and then unpack this. And this is yours. This is your opportunity. You started us. We did work with the steering committee to give you something to react to, but this is really for you and from you. And so before we even get into what this mission, vision, core values is as a draft, as an opportunity for you to respond, let me give you a sense of how it was built. So beyond all of those community input sessions, the real deep work was done through the steering committee. So what we were gathering was all of that input and presenting it to your steering committee with the direction of Dr. Marshall, and getting them to sit down, roll up their sleeves and say, what does this mean, right? How do we turn around and rank some of these values? What are the core values that are being surfaced here? They had, longer lists, discussions, some debates, but frankly, a lot of agreement, and moving towards then saying, if we were to pick 7, what would they be? They then went through the process of, okay, you can pick 7 by names, but what does it really mean? So the narrative that is there is also something that comes directly built up through the process, starting with you and the steering committee going through a drafting process and then redrafting and trying to hit the mark in terms of what they thought was capturing the essence of all of that qualitative and to a degree quantitative input that goes into that. So these that are here are built on that drafting process. There was a very significant empathy exercise that they also did, where the steering committee had each of the educational partners as a set of shoes to walk through and to draft views and visions and kind of core values and beliefs based on all the things they heard through this set of phases and what they then inferred to get their mindset into how does this calibrate across our entire system. So they walked in the shoes of students, of families, of educators, administrators, and to a certain extent, like the board, right? So they had to put all those various hats on and filter it into, is this representing, is this including? So I just want to give you a little bit of sense of, how all that was built into it. These are not, our words, our draft. We were facilitators in the process. And I think the steering committee, with significant input from Dr. Marshall, really appreciated that opportunity to do that on your behalf, and is happy to have us, give you this chance, and we're, thrilled to be stewards for that. So, as a course of exercise, I think what we need to do is to spend our time and letting you all unpack it. And we can do that in a number of different ways. I might suggest that we start with the core values, because that's how the process with the steering committees started. And maybe what we do is we'll have somebody read each one out loud, and then I'll let you all decide, how do you want to unpack each of these? How would you like to sort of process or discuss? That's the way I might present it, but if you, as the leader of your group, would like to add any other way of engaging this group, please let me know, and we can go through that in a different way if you'd like.
Works for me. But before we go, do we have a list? And we probably got it already, but I don't remember. Who was on the strategic planning committee?
I don't
I
think
don't
we ever
remember, I
got
know
We
it was
never got it.
Barbie.
No. We
It
never-
was
Sean,
It was Sean Ritchie, Eric Soursby, Lisa Souza, Matt Thomas,
Renee, Renee.
and then
Yes.
Stasha Raines came towards the end after
Yeah.
they left.
And Dr.
And
Yeah.
he was front and center every meeting,
Did you say Eric?
Eric.
Oh, cool, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just do, I'm happy with the way you
Let's try
suggested.
it.
Okay, yeah, at your direction. So can somebody start by reading community as a core value? It's on page 14.
Dana,
Okay, community. We believe that communities are fundamental in shaping our shared identity. Los Spanish Unified values a student-centered culture built on respect, pride, and inclusivity among all in the district. Because we embrace the unique cultural makeup of Los Banos, we foster strong partnerships with families, businesses, and the wider community, working collaboratively to support and enrich the educational journey of every student.
Now 15. End of the month, 14. We'll read them all, and then we can go back and.
Are we gonna read them all or digest one at a time?
Well, what I would hope is maybe we should read them all, because you might see that some themes either are there or aren't there. And then we'll just at a high level, and then we'll unpack them, because I think you're absolutely right. The digesting is hard to do.
Okay, so should I continue? Excellence, okay, excellence. We value excellence in the pursuit of happiness, happiness.
I like it.
The highest standards of academic achievement, personal growth, and character development. Los Banos Unified School District offers or fosters a culture of continuous improvement, innovation, and a commitment to developing the skills to succeed in an ever-changing world. We believe in recruiting and supporting talented, dedicated, and empathetic educators, staff, and leaders who hold or who build communities where all can succeed. Happiness is the pursuit.
Yes.
Lori?
We value leadership that ignites and develops a sense of purpose and inspiration for all. Through visionary guidance, mentorship, and opportunities for growth, leadership thrives, creating a community of confident and impactful student and adult leaders, both within and beyond the classroom. Nurturing leadership qualities in students empower them to evoke positive change for themselves, their communities, and the world. Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I did too.
Equity. We believe that equity in education is the key to unlocking human potential. Los Banos Unified promotes learning experiences that empower students to dream, grow, and thrive regardless of background or circumstances. Students explore a future beyond high school with the support of educators who are diverse in their approaches and backgrounds.
Commitment. We cultivate a community where all members, united by mutual respect and support, never lose faith in their abilities or those of their peers. Los Banos Unified values effort, patience, determination, and the well-being of students and staff. Perseverance, dedication fuel us to surpass perceived limitations and unlock our full potential, achieving beyond expectations. We are committed to collaboration, respectful engagement, and partnership between students, families, and educators, and value trust and open communication in fostering a positive and effective learning environment.
All right, so those were the, samples, 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I was gonna say. The 5. So I'm gonna let you decide where you wanna start. We can start at the top. There were some that resonated with you all. Do we wanna start with the parts
So
that
this is what
resonate?
you guys digested from all your interviews?
There's a lot that went on.
I mean, they're very, to me, they're very powerful. I mean, there are a lot of fancy words, I know, and sometimes fancy words don't translate into what really happens, but they hit, there's a lot of things that hit very powerfully with me, so.
Well, I have to say, I was just reminded right now, this sentence under equity that says, students explore a future beyond high school with the support of educators who are diverse in their approaches and backgrounds.
Yeah.
So much of that came from the conversation we had with you. So there was so much pride that you all had in this idea of possibilities, of discovery, of thinking, I think you all use the words out of the box, right? Looking at ways in which we're not just speaking to one path, but what are the opportunities for students to explore either careers or concurrently, you know, at the community college. So that conversation we had here, it literally is in that sentence. And I think one of the ways that the exercises took us through this to get here was to say, and what is needed in order to always surface those possibilities? And it's people of diverse backgrounds, approaches, like how do we reflect the richness that is Los Banos, not only now, but in the future. So I was particularly pleased that we were able to continue that through line of where you all started us.
I also, the one that's really strong is in leadership. That whole nurturing leadership qualities in students empowers them to invoke positive change for themselves and their community and the world. I mean, yeah, that's what we want, I hope.
The other thing is you read these, you know, we don't want this to be something that just gets set aside. You know, Maurice and I, as a former superintendent and as former school board member, when we went through this process, we felt like, how do we put these things on the wall, reminded every day, using them? We would talk about them in our, you know, school board meetings as we talk about goals. We would reinforce, you know, this is, in our case, you know, we had partnership, and this is partnership, this is what it means. So I think for you, one thing to reflect on as you're sort of connecting with some of this is to think about the order of these core values. We certainly kind of put a little straw out here. We thought community is what we heard first, but you all certainly have the opportunity to kind of think about your community and how it would digest these things. But you know, that order also is intentional for you, and you have that opportunity to set the table for the way in which you discuss things and approach things.
I think community being first is important to people who outside of the board or even outside of the actual school district would look at this and see, oh, one of their first core values is including the community. So I like that fact that it's first. I think that's a really makes a good point, a good statement for us.
And let me add to that, is that who are going to read this too are people who are looking to become teachers and classified workers. And one of the things we used to do is give them the core values ahead of time in every interview. And they would come to the first round and we'd say, why are you a match with us? And they had to speak from the heart, because we believed in hiring that you hire for attitude and beliefs. Change for skill, train for skill. But good luck with not having to match with values.
I like that idea, that's good.
I mean, there's so many, I'll talk later about it, but there's so many of the things in the implementation stage that would make this live, to your very first point, Anthony, about it can't stay on the shelf.
Well, and I see the vision on the top, and there was just one thing that came out of that vision that I feel very passionate about. Is Los Banos graduates are confident, prepared citizens eager to positively impact the world in their own ongoing pursuit of knowledge. I mean, that's such a powerful statement. I love that. I think though in leadership, are we giving input?
Yeah.
That when I told you nurturing leadership qualities in students, okay, I think we should add and staff.
Okay.
Because I think that, you know.
I like commitment. Okay, give commitment. Kind of bring the family together as one with the mentors. And hopefully build mutual respect and respecting and support. I like that.
I love that. Unlock our full potential.
Well, I think what we heard so much is there is a lot of belief in people in this community, from students all the way through all those partners. And the opportunities are just that, to help them flourish, and that everyone has a lot to offer. And I think that's where that unlock came from, was the source of pride that your community has, and support and belief in all the parts to the whole.
You know, looking at these 5 areas, and I understand why we put community first, but looking at our community, should we put equity second?
There you go, that's what I was thinking.
All right, I love this conversation.
Well, and it's such a big buzzword right now anyway.
Yeah, and I guess,
Equity goes,
It is.
equity goes under community?
yeah,
The second
move it up.
And I just, I, compared to all the rest of them, it just seems equity needs a punch. It's not quite,
All right.
and I'm trying to figure out what it's lacking, but compared to all the other ones, it just seems to need just a little bit more punch to it, because it's so important right now.
Yes.
And it's if you look at any school district, equity is one of the main, they've got equity plans, there's just a
Right.
mirage of things that tie to
Yes.
equity.
It's the
And
big buzz right now.
we
It
need
is.
to do that. And if it's here in our core values, then I feel like our equity policy, our equity plan, everything will fall then in line. So that's kind of what I'm a little bit passionate about, and I don't know yet what, I'm just reading it over and over, trying to figure out what more it needs compared to the others. It's just not quite there.
So maybe I can pose a question that might help you all get there. So we've had some experiences with some districts that have really walked them through an exercise of what's the difference between each and all. And I think that discovery of why each matters to you may surface some of these things. You know, what we've heard, each is this notion of just that you are going down to an individual level and meeting them, and what, transpires because of taking that individuality
into account. It doesn't mean that everybody's gonna get everything tailored to them, but it does kind of balance this notion of all. There's a commitment to a collective, but sometimes that collective you get lost in.
There you go.
The each isn't as amplified, and each also speaks towards a sense of belonging, which I think folks are really attached to. All does too, but you know, I think if you have a chance to kind of think about those two things and why one might resonate with you over the other, maybe we could surface some other things.
Well, because equity means something different to everybody. That's what's so hard about that whole term. And so everybody has to come to life to what they believe, even their beliefs about what equity means. Because I know to me, when we talk about equity, it doesn't mean that everybody gets the same thing. It means we meet individual needs.
No, and so when
everybody's different and appreciate the differences.
when we go back to the vision, I know we're gonna do that later, but it says equal access, and that's another part that's bugging me on the vision, because it's more of an equitable situation, not equal. I go back to a drawing of 3 kids, different sizes, trying to look over a fence. And, right, and the short one needed 3 boxes to look over the fence, and there's one that needs 2, and one that didn't need 1. That's equity, it's
That's
equity. And so if I'm not sure we're hitting equity yet. I don't know how yet.
Well, we can there's time and space for that. It doesn't have to spontaneously happen today.
Okay,
right?
good.
I think this is meant to, amplify and ruminate, right? So, not something where we have to walk out and ink today.
Okay,
I do
good.
want to reflect back that that's a really interesting thing about what you said about equal access, because in the law, on the titles, right, where it comes from,
Right.
street talk, it's float all boats.
Right.
But it can be read as everybody has, like you're saying, some people need to have more support to get the access. And it could be mistaken as everybody gets the same offer.
Exactly, and that's right.
That's
and
interesting.
that was what was when I read the core value, that when we got to the core value, I was going to talk about that part.
I just listen to everything I said, and I think the phrase that comes to me is equity in acceptance. I think that we have, I think Los Banos has an issue with acceptance of differing people. We are a community of differing people, whether we're from over the hill, whether we're born and raised in Los Banos, whether we're Catholic, Protestant, just language is spoken, races, beliefs, your preference in what you believe in. I think there's so many differing people. You probably say that about the whole country, but particularly in Los Banos. And I don't think we are, as a community, I don't think we're as accepting of other people's beliefs as we need to be. Whether it's Pacheco High versus Los Banos or San Luis versus whatever, I think it would be nice if we lived, and maybe I'm just thinking this is utopia for me, it would be nice if we lived in a community where people just accepted each other regardless of what you looked like, what language you spoke, what religion, or anything else.
To identify as.
Chief, I really appreciate you saying that.
Because I think we have a hard time right now with that. I speak to a lot of people over the years, and if you boil it down, I think it comes to that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
It's a national thing.
Yeah, it is.
It is. It's not just Los Banos, but we want to be in Los Banos. It would be nice to make some kind of a statement about acceptance.
It's good.
Under which one, like community, like I'm.
Equity, it would be nice. If it was
Okay.
under equity.
I just see okay.
It probably hits on many of them,
Well,
but
we
equity
haven't,
would be.
I'm just thinking even under community, because we have inclusivity and, I don't know if acceptance can go.
Yeah, I think
But
it
you're
really needs
more
to be under equality of
Well,
people.
equity is different in that respect, but yes.
Because because then commitment is we're committed to collaboration, respectful engagement, which is key to that whole acceptance, that respectful
But
engagement.
it doesn't name it, it doesn't point it out, it doesn't identify it as being an issue, in my mind.
I think it's very powerful that this board, even like as far as the term equity, because, you know, you have a lot of districts that are under attack behind it, you know, just if you follow what's going on nationally, even within the state, in some parts of our state, where that equity word, you know, people are kind of scared to use it. So they kind of say that we're out, I mean, I think that we do a good job as far as doing stuff for our students. But to be able to take that step and say, you know, that we value equity is a big step. I remember there was a concern that someone had, like when it was a summer school, you know, you had someone in the community that was concerned about the summer school curriculum or whatever, and it was just that all the kids were going to learn about was equity. And it ended up not being anything of substance, but it just goes to show you kind of parallel with what's going on, like as you see in our state about that, the stigma around that word. And I do think there's some work, I mean, just the fact that we're acknowledging that we value equity and the fact that, you know, we want to be, you know, we do it, but being brave enough to say that we do it.
Right, are we gonna walk the walk, or are we gonna
Yes.
talk the talk? Because let's face it, most of us all went to multicultural night.
Right.
There were different booths and different groups of people, right? And if you looked around as you walked around, and I paid attention to this, I looked at where were the masses of people huddled, right? What booth were they huddled at, right? There were some booths where there was massive amount of people there. There were some booths that were like, no one was there, right? And some of the booths were based on clubs, organizations, cultures, and so yeah, a multicultural night is a way of actually looking at it, right? Not just talking about it, and then seeing, okay, are we really multicultural, and do we subscribe to it as a district or as a city?
You know, to look at stuff that we've done as a district in terms of, if you look at, I think in some instances, we walk the walk well. But are we brave enough to say it?
Right.
But from the outside looking in, that's what I see.
There is a
Maybe here.
difference between equality and equity.
Right.
That's where we're kind of
Yeah.
blurring it a little.
Right.
I mean, okay, so there's equality,
What's your
Equity-
definition of equality?
more of what you were talking about.
What's your definition of equity?
Equity is more of meeting each student's needs as it relates. So that's why when you were talking, I was thinking, I'm 100% behind you. I was thinking it was more in community versus the equity is as it relates to education, is providing the services that meet the need of each student.
Right.
And supports of so that's why it's.
I understand what you're saying, okay.
Well, and it says that, it says promotes learning experiences that empower students to dream, grow, and thrive regardless of background or circumstances. So
Right, but I don't disagree with what.
I know what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with
that.
what you're saying at all,
And
Gene, that's for
But I
sure.
would think that would be more in community is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Or that or another heading. But then.
Well, I think, cause we have inclusivity, right, in community, which isn't quite, you know, it might be that's why I was saying maybe inclusivity and acceptance, you know, so, I don't know, but again, that we gotta kind of not.
Right, Jean,
Blur those
listen, because
two.
because we embrace the unique cultural makeup of Las Vegas, we foster strong partnerships, but that probably is the place to talk about acceptance more than equity.
I hear you, I hear what you're saying, but to me, they're cousins to each other, to me.
Yeah, but each one has a value. On equity and, what was the other one? Equality.
Equality and equity.
Yeah. They're both different.
Could you come up with a acceptance statement that starts off the narrative under equity? Because acceptance is a fundamental, like, sort of framework of value, and then this equity, and then we move into the specific of equity in education. So is there a place to make an acceptance statement at the beginning of equity? Something to the effect of, we believe that acceptance is, you know, however you want to define it, you know, is who we are, or is non-negotiable, or I don't know how you might want to flesh it out.
No non-negotiable, it's not,
Agreed,
that's just
agreed.
not,
You don't want me to wordsmith on the fly.
yeah.
I'm like you, I like to process for a while.
Exactly.
But there is a place there, I think, in terms of the flow and the logic, there is a place to put a statement about acceptance first. And then the next one moves into, you know, in education, this is, you know, your commitment, this is what you believe.
So we thrive this is just, I'm just thinking out loud.
And I'm with you.
We thrive to develop a community that accepts the,
So then why isn't that in community?
no, I'm just saying, I'm trying to think out loud.
What about the pairing of acceptance and each? Right, because we are trying to identify the fact that we accept each and every
That,
individual, right? I mean, this starts at the ethos of what anyone who is in any way associated with Los Banos. We want to include them in that definition of acceptance. We can all sit on this and Dr. Marshall can hear your sentence input, but I think you're on to something, and I'll put my thinking cap on too, and I'll send something his way, but I think as part of a process, it's great that you all are, you know, these are in the ballpark. Where is something missing? What is resonating? I think you've also picked up on some of these things overlap on each other, and there's some intentionality in that, which is that they, you know, the definition of community here reinforces both equity and commitment, right? The similarities that are there are important in how they all fit together. So I think you are picking up on the fact that A, that's happening, and B, that it's okay because these are continuing to serve up the vegetables, right? keep presenting the mindsets, the values, in ways for people to connect with it.
Is this, I'm even looking at, it doesn't have to be a community, but we cultivate a community where all members united by mutual respect, acceptance, and support.
You can add it in two places, right? We can come up with a statement there, but also include it here to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100%, like I said, behind what Jean's talking about. But I don't want to dilute what equity is as well. Does that make sense? As it relates in education, because it's a very powerful thing in education.
Just to loop back on this, I really appreciate, and to a certain extent,
Just
you know, glad
glad.
that we didn't push your hand, that you all moved equity.
Oh, yeah.
And
Totally,
so
yeah.
I just want to check in on, so if it were to flow community, equity, and then how do the rest come out here for you? They're engaging, that's good.
No, for me, I would like to see excellence at the end,
Okay.
because if I was reading this, I want excellence. I mean, I'd like to be that, a real.
He wants to end on a high note.
Yeah, exactly. I think that for me, that's my personal opinion. I'm
It's
not
the
saying-
building,
Yes,
and then
yes.
this is the result.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You
possible.
have equity, then leadership, and then excellence, and then commitment. Or commitment and then excellence.
Because even commitment ends on a light. high note because we're committed, but
Right.
yes,
I think, I
either
think
one of
excellence
those.
is like,
One.
here's what we
Either-
really wanna,
Okay.
See, but I
Yeah.
don't see that as the end, I almost feel like you're saying, oh, that's not important, if it's at the end. But I mean, not all of them are, but I just
Yeah.
feel like if you have it at the end, it's almost like, well, that's where, you know, yeah, and by the way.
see, I'm
Well, one
thinking,
way to look at it is if you do all these things, we are, let's remind ourselves, it's in pursuit of something. And excellence is part of that.
and I think.
Right, so I don't think it's a
also the
throwaway.
last thing you read.
How about leadership?
It's the last thing you read.
It's right after
and
equity.
You kind of.
That would
you know,
fit right there, right?
Leadership?
Yep, leadership.
I'm thinking towards the end,
Towards the end?
because it holds all this up. Leadership holds all this up, it's here to me. Oops,
So does excellent.
it does. Look at the women in basket toss them up,
Even commitment.
because it's really nice.
Maybe commitment should be after equity then, since they're so closely
I'd like to see
tied.
the word inclusive in here somewhere. All
It is,
inclusive,
it is,
where's
it's
that?
inclusivity, right, is under community.
Yeah, it would
It's
be
in that
equity,
first one, on the
leadership,
first
and then
page. We
commitment.
split the page for you on college.
Then
That's
Well,
commitment,
mine is in that
excellent
shape,
at
it
the end.
wasn't, I got a
Oh, no.
Here,
So it's
here.
Here.
Oh, yeah, you missed that.
big,
Here, look, I think I have
It's
it.
right here.
okay, got it. You got my piece? She had my
I would
piece.
give you
Oh,
mine.
that is so
Look at that.
But
I saw that piece going, where was that there?
There it is. Look, it's perfect.
Maurice is gonna get you some tape.
I have no tape, sorry.
I'll get duct
Okay,
tape.
so I'm happy now that inclusive is in.
Community is
It's like I'm
strong.
saying,
That's-
oh, see inclusive.
That's
Must
what I
be
was
cut-
saying, that
must
I
be cut
thought,
off.
that's why I was saying it's there, but even if we added and acceptance, I mean, inclusivity is, including everybody, acceptance, it might be looked at different, but
No, I don't think it is looked at differently, inclusivity.
and acceptance they're two different, are they two different things, or are we saying the same thing, is what I'm saying, if we added another word?
It can go either way.
Yeah,
It's additive.
it's
just
okay,
a
yeah,
matter of where
but
you-
that's where I was thinking it would be really a good fit too.
Yeah, you're right.
It's right there. It's good.
It's good stuff. I'll make that right.
Right here with this piece.
I have a whole one extra one, printout right here too.
Yeah, why
No,
don't
this
you
is
give her
actually-
the new
You know what,
good
a
one?
little tape.
Yeah, when Maurice is getting tape, it's good for him. He needs to get up and walk.
It is a little-
Are we at community, equity, leadership, commitment, and excellence?
That's what I was writing
That
down
order?
to see what it looked like.
You said community.
1, 5,
first,
3,
right?
2, 4.
Community, equity, leadership, commitment,
Excellent.
But all the
and excellent. That's the way, is it helpful if I write them up on the wall? and you
No,
look
I
at them?
No, you're fine.
I just put them down as 1, 5, 3, 2, 4.
Look at, that's what it was looking more for, don't ignore my.
I have one.
That's on my handwriting.
Yeah.
I have one. I have extra.
Okay, so I heard community, equity, leadership, commitment, excellence.
Mhm.
Is that sitting okay?
I was trying to spell out the first letters, but not
So
letters
is
you
this,
can
who's it,
spell
Graham's
out.
number one?
For somebody,
Yes.
sorry,
Community.
acronym, people
Yeah.
can remember.
Yeah.
It's all about, we want people
Yeah.
to use it, for them to be able to
Excellence is fine.
remember.
Excellence is fine.
That's the last one. Just so, I'm doing them in order. I'm sorry, I'm
That's all right.
linear. 3 is leadership, the third one. Then 2 is equity,
Good.
and then 4 is commitment, yes.
I'm gonna put it in chat.
Did I say that right?
I think so, yeah. I'm tracking too.
Could I go over that? Sure. Thank you.
Okay, so are there, we've had some placeholder parking lot. I note to myself to loop back as well to see if I can come up with some addition for maybe a start off equity on an acceptance level. You all wanna think about that. Any other places? Do you want a quiet minute just to read them each in order? Would you like me to read them each in order out loud? Sometimes that resonates. I just wanna make sure we give this, its last bit so that we can move on to some of these other things. We can always come back, but, just wanna,
Where are you at right now?
right now, we're still on the core values.
Oh, we still on
So we're on 14 with community.
Right.
Unless you're board member Smith and you don't get any of it, you get
Yeah, they have it.
you got some tape though. So we go, page 14 starts the core values and community still sits 1. Then you slip flip to page 15, and in the order, equity would come next, then leadership, then commitment, then excellence.
Yes.
My only other suggestion is there's some, I'm gonna call them fluff, little short fluff phrases that I don't think are needed. For example, I'm just gonna say like Las Vegas unified values, a student-centered culture built on respect, pride. If we put inclusivity and acceptance, let's just say if we did it there, but among all, but do we have to say in the district again? Because we're talking about Las Vegas Unified and we're talking about students, and so why happen, so
Get rid
there's,
of in the district.
there's just some of the, and I'm using that phrase because I was just at a training yesterday for one of my other hats, I'm on another board, and we're going over our mission statement, our, all of this, and so
You're right,
trying
it
to,
shouldn't be repeated.
trying to eliminate.
Keep it tight,
Yes, because we want people to be able to, speak about each one of them, and some of them are pretty lengthy, so we wanna maybe just, think about some of the fluff words, so, that are in there. Meaning extra words, not.
Extra words, call them extra words, not
Yeah,
fluff
well,
words.
it's just cause
I
that's
do
how,
like the way
that's what I
this is
learned
written.
yesterday, was they're called fluff words, meaning there's no
I like the
big,
fluff words.
big meaning. Okay. Yeah, and I don't even know if it needs to be among all or just of all, all of all or something, but yeah. Not a big deal.
All right, I was just giving space for people to process if they want, but we can move, would we like to move to the mission and vision?
Yes.
All right, let's do that. So, as a reminder, I need these often, mission is what you do each and every day. Vision is where you want to be. I will give one bit of feedback here is that the steering committee went through a very natural exercise that I think people often are of 2 months. They wanted everything in the vision, and then they felt like it was way too long. So I'm putting forth the possibility, which is if you are of those 2 minds, there also is, a place to have the Nike just do it, right? You can have the yes and. So it is up to you. You all are going to be doing a branding exercise. I don't think those things have to be in conflict of, but if you decide that this too many words is confusing or not helpful, we can cut it down too. I think this committee had difficulty cutting it down. So that's, they're just gonna pass that on to you. So does somebody want to read mission, and then you can unpack or do some reactions? Read it out loud for the group.
Mission.
Thank you.
Our mission is to provide all students with a relevant, engaging, and unparalleled education that fosters creativity, productive citizenship, and continuous learning. We create a safe and innovative learning environment through effective leadership, strong relationships, clear communication, and ongoing support.
To me, that sounds like a paragraph that would be indicative of every school district across the nation.
I think that's what a lot of folks have. And to a degree, I would say that the question is this the place to be unique and different, right? Should the mission be really clear and expected?
It's just too long.
Okay?
I mean, when you're talking mission, this one is just too long. If people cannot say the mission, because I'm gonna tell you all, if somebody asks us later what the mission is, will you have this memorized?
Oh, no.
No, but we should be able to articulate our mission very easily. So it's long, yeah.
But how could you, if you have a mission that you could say in a few words, it's not gonna say what you need it to say.
I don't know,
That's the flip side.
Nike made billions on just do it.
That's vision, that's vision.
Symbol.
Well,
Yeah, but agreed. Their mission might very well be to make high
That's
quality
their
shoes.
slogan, just
Yeah.
do it, their
That's
slogan.
their slogan.
Yeah.
that's just what we know them by.
Right.
Their catchphrase.
We can have a slogan, I thought we were gonna make a new sign with the slogan, right?
That's coming, yes.
Yes.
As a middle school principal, our vision was a step above the rest.
There you go,
Yeah.
very short, and that, it's,
We were
but
always
it's
gonna do
clear.
everything a step above the rest, everybody else. And if you were doing it great, we were gonna do it better.
Was that a mission or a slogan?
That was our vision.
That's a vision.
That was
Well,
our.
that was a vision.
statement. That was our
It
vision.
wasn't a mission, it was a vision.
It was our vision.
Wow.
And
You
we
have to
all,
interpret that.
we could say it, we could recite it, we lived it.
Right.
And I even heard teachers hold one another accountable to it, you know, in complaining at the copy machine, they would say, how is that gonna get us a step above the rest?
Mm.
That's when I sat down and said,
Wow.
yes, but
That's
I mean,
awesome.
we knew that. So there's something to be said about brevity.
Well, you could do, our mission is to provide all students with a relevant, engaging, and unparalleled education in a safe and innovative environment. That cuts out
That's
a lot of
getting
words.
close,
Getting
yeah,
closer, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, cause I was gonna say that, I mean, even if you, I didn't wanna take out the second sentence, cause I like
That
the
was-
safe.
That was,
And-
you're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, but you could almost take it out, but you added where it was good, but,
Yeah.
does that make, yeah. So that's not too bad, it's still, yeah, we're getting closer.
Well, how do you say relevant, engaging, and unparalleled in one word?
I think say relevant, I think, how do you say this relevant?
I mean, really, if you wanna shorten it, that's what you have to do.
Yeah, now I will unpack why relevant is there, right? That I think for educators, it's this idea of taking ownership and having a place, an opportunity to impact what happens, right? That we do the things that need to be going on as opposed to are just going on,
To
right?
me, relevant means that you're doing for this century that we're in right now.
There you go, yeah, I agree.
So
with you.
relevant is like, okay, we're not
That's
just
as
trying to give people
in
information,
education,
we're
that's
trying
how
to
we-
show them how they're gonna use this information to be a productive
I agree,
citizen in our
I
world.
agree with you.
So that's how I saw relevant when it was there,
Mhm.
but that also makes it engaging. The relevant education makes it engaging, I mean, unparalleled is what she just said. Better than anybody else.
Above the rest.
Which is relevant.
Which includes all those though, then if we're talking unparalleled, it better be relevant, engaging, and everything in between.
Yep.
So, you know.
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
An unparalleled experience.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, am I hearing, our mission is to provide all students with an unparalleled education in a safe and innovative environment, or?
I don't know if I
Say
like the
that
word
again,
unparalleled.
say that again, what you just said?
I was just condensing, so
Okay.
nothing new to the world, but I just took the beginning, our mission is to provide all students with an unparalleled education, and then skipped forward to in a safe and innovative learning environment, or I think we're all in agreement that safe is something that is important.
Yes.
That's what I heard, right? So in a safe, and you fill in the blank here, given all the other things that have been cut out, is there something that you would want to retain? Doesn't have to be innovative, could be something else. It could just be safe.
Yeah, it could be.
It also could be engaging.
Yeah, safe and engaging, that's nice. You could take engaging back in there.
Yeah.
Or you could just squish all those other words back in there.
I like a safe learning environment because innovative, again, if we're keeping anything close to unparalleled education, it better be innovative as well, relevant, engaging, all of those things.
Our mission is to provide all students with an unparalleled education in a safe learning environment.
There you go.
Like it.
Done.
I like it too.
Better citizenship.
I mean, you get a lot of, well, and also you get a lot of depth in your core values, right? There's,
Right.
Yes, that's, yeah, there's the.
okay, so our mission is to provide all students with an unparalleled education in a safe learning environment.
But we're not gonna put innovative?
No.
Cause that's unparalleled, says it.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we could throw in a zillion words.
I know,
All right,
I know.
All
You
right,
get
let's
bogged
take-
down in wording.
Let's take this effectiveness to the vision path. Somebody wanna read it out loud?
Okay. Vision. Los Alamos Unified is an innovative and inclusive district where every student has equal access to high-quality education and opportunities for success. We continuously seek new approaches to enhance teaching and learning. Through a commitment of academic and professional excellence, we empower students to reach their full potential. Los Alamos Unified graduates are confident, prepared citizens, eager to positively impact the world in an ongoing pursuit of knowledge.
A lot going on there, right?
Yeah.
You know,
But
it's
what's
a
our
statement of what we're doing.
Exactly.
It's not a statement of
Well,
vision.
All
yeah,
right,
it's not
let's get
where's the target on the
Yeah.
wall we wanna hit.
Yeah.
This
Alright.
is- This is what we want,
Yeah.
we
I mean-
are this.
The first sentence,
Last sentence.
is just defining ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's not our vision.
all right, so bump it up.
Um, I mean, we continually seek new approaches. Again, it's what we're doing. It's not
with
where we wanna go.
I'm with
It's
you.
the last sentence.
Yeah,
It's just one.
Oh, that's the vision, is that every student,
yeah.
every
I mean,
graduate is confident, prepared.
You know, Los Banos graduates,
I love the positively impact the world. I mean,
Yeah,
sorry, that's,
no,
I think
you're,
what
no, you're right.
in every class I've ever taught, that was always my
I think
mission
it's
statement for
in
them.
Los Banos.
What's your impact on the world? What's your impact on the world?
I think, I'm gonna throw this out and then we'll take it from there. Los Banos Unified graduates will, and we can wordsmith it, will be confident, prepared citizens eager to positively impact the world. Basically, I took out "are" and replace it with "will be."
Yeah, but a vision statement says, what it says, just so you know, the R is there because it's a statement, even though it's pointing at the fence, it is what is happening
In the future.
in the future.
Okay.
So, and some people are already living and being that vision, yes, in some respects, but it's in the future you will always encounter, right? They are this.
I think we just use the last sentence.
Los Banos Unified graduates are confident, prepared citizens eager to positively impact the world in their ongoing pursuit of knowledge.
There it is. You can get rid of the rest of it.
I mean, I like all the fluff and doing the rest of it, but that's,
I don't, but none of that's a vision, all of that is
Yeah.
a statement of what we're doing.
But if you removed eager
Okay.
to and just said positively
Yes,
impact.
yes,
do that.
that's
what I was.
Because we're not, right.
And not even the hints, do we have to have the very ending part? You're just saying stop at world, or are you saying to continue the rest?
I'm okay to continue, but I
Okay.
would just take out the eager to.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
that's what we're gonna do. We're not eager to do it, we're doing it.
Right.
So,
Right.
if we're gonna be action oriented,
Yeah.
then we would positively impacting the world in their ongoing, I like that ongoing pursuit of knowledge.
Yeah.
There's just something
Yeah.
about that just kind of touches my
Exactly,
heart.
that takes it
Yes,
to the
past
the
levels.
high
Present state,
school,
right?
yeah.
So then it says, Los Banos Unified graduates are confident, prepared citizens, positively impacting the world in their ongoing pursuit of knowledge.
Yes.
That's a pound the table, that's a pound
There
the
you
table.
go.
They are positively, I like that.
That is what I want.
Alright, pound the table.
I was looking at it, it was like, oh.
So the focus, not the focus group, but the group that
I don't,
spent hours on this is
I
gonna
don't-
be
I
mad at
think-
us now
I know,
going,
I
No, 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 no,
we
no,
took
no,
it
no,
out.
I think
them
they,
to be-
no, 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 no,
Okay.
they fatigued.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
and in a good way, right? And I think frankly, the gift is they gave you the opportunity to lead,
Yeah.
so.
They gave us a
They
great
were doing a
foundation.
lot of lifting.
We already had.
I know it is hard work.
Yeah, well, and at some point your brain gets tired. I think that they wanted to keep a lot there so that it could be winnowed down.
I'm thankful for all the work we did.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
all of us.
Well, it made our job easier, because all we had to do was wordsmith what they gave us.
Like Jean said, just, we were the editors right
Yep.
now.
Yeah. I do want to give space, this is where you all have your own opportunity and future work to do, but part of the strategic plan is the strategic directions. And Dr. Marshall, our recommendation is to, instead of, this is page 16, these directions are our way of showing that you are thinking about the work at hand, but to Maurice's point, goals become very, very, specific and actionable. These are just that, a bit of the pointing to the fence, or the freeway you're getting on. But we would recommend that you would have closer to 7. And we have a few minutes here. Dr. Marshall, you could talk a little bit about maybe the things that you are leaning towards, but I know you wanted
I
some
but I want
board's
to
input.
get your input. I know a lot of these things, some of the stuff we're already doing. If you look at as far as that's important to us, like being fiscally solvent. There's one there about our facilities, make sure we have our facilities up to par. We just talked about, it's kind of a high level in terms of all of our kids to be at 3rd grade, and we can be prepared for math, when they get to math standards by the time they're in the 9th grade. So there are a lot of things that are like partnerships with families. But I just wanted to kind of go we did just down for the other ones, just kind of get your input on those, see what you feel is the ones, if you whittled it down to 7, what would it be?
Should we put that, or should we mark the one?
Should we, do you want
I want
facilitation? Do you want facilitation here, or do you want to read on your own? But I think what Dr. Marshall is asking for is just the reactions in the same way that we looked at other things. So maybe we give you a minute to each read them.
Right.
And then when you've hit the end, let's popcorn out thoughts and reactions.
Good.
Are you ready to move on, or still need more time?
I'm good.
Good.
Okay, Dr. Marshall's just in time.
Sorry about that, at the Los Banos High School. Yeah, it's okay.
I will editorialize right before you start. As I read this, this is your unparalleled education. So, nicely done. I think they're ready for you, Dr. Marshall.
Okay,
I think 1 and 10 almost, they can be combined.
all right.
Well, okay, so 1 in 10 about it's that little part at the end where it says with social emotional support. So now we're talking about physically safe environments with social emotional support versus clean, secure. And then we have facilities. So to me, that we just have to figure out there's 3 different things. To me, facilities, safety, social, emotional, I mean.
All together.
It's,
Just put them all together in one.
Okay,
cause safety means more than
Right.
just a safe
absolutely.
school with, there's no weapons and no
Right.
fight, that's safe school. But we're talking the whole student.
Gotcha.
So how do we,
Maybe 4 and 10.
4 and 10. I think when I look at the safety aspect of it, I mean, I look at it more from the social emotional standpoint, you know, so, maybe just get the one that, like, I could see, like, 10 is almost kind of redundant,
Yeah, I had that marked.
yeah. So I would eliminate number 10.
but if we did the first one and said each student will have access, then we get down to that personalized for each and every student versus saying all students will have equal access.
Or you can add clean after safe. Safe and clean environment.
Yes, okay.
If you want it,
Yeah.
if Dana wants to
No, I don't, the clean,
add 10 to one.
I don't think that was ever anything I saw as an issue here,
Yeah, I neither.
was clean.
Okay.
I mean, I hope that's what we're gonna do,
Right,
it's just.
right.
And I'm looking, is number 5 really a strategic directive, or is it what we
Yeah, number 5
we
is.
do?
Because anyway.
Kind of,
It's
yeah.
mandated
It's what
by the
we do.
state, right? So
Yeah, I
we
mean,
have a
it's
choice.
what we do.
Right.
Why would we wanna say that's a directive when
Right,
we have to do it?
true.
Well, I don't really understand what number 6, if I read it, isn't this what we're doing?
Yeah,
But
So why is it,
Yeah.
I had a question mark there going,
yeah, I didn't.
what does that
I was-
look like? What does that look like
Okay.
outside of this, what we're
Right.
doing?
I don't know, I just would like us to maybe try to figure out how we separate the facilities, safety, and I think social emotional is so important as one of our goals. The whole student.
You know, one thing that as consultants we know is that when you hold up a mirror to the community, that doesn't mean they know everything. They don't know what they don't know. And it was Dr. Marshall and talking with us that punctuated facilities. Because you need something in that, because people don't know they're swimming in water. So that was one thing that in terms of the leadership, and he, Dr. Marshall had, this is a superintendent's handprint. He led these hard. But we cut the leather bigger than we needed for the shoes, so it's great that you're.
But I would say that the community they care about
They
safety.
value you.
And they also, I think that they value and may not have named it as such, but new, clean schools that respect the students who show up, right? And I think that in that regard.
And put it this way, they wanted what's best for the kids. They
Right.
wanted things that
Right.
looked really good. We just articulated it.
And we need to have something on facilities because we're growing, we're only gonna need new facilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have to have something about that in there because we don't want to, like Jean says, we don't wanna build facilities after we need them.
I mean, for me, actually, the biggest ones were, I think, other than just the social-emotional aspect of the student, which, physical stability, that's big. And I have my kids up to a certain, if you can get all kids to grade level by third grade, that's,
Is that a requirement too?
that drives everything.
That's not a requirement right now, but it'd be nice.
But it's a good, but it's something that's good to work towards. You look at in partnering with families, that's huge. The facilities aspect, and then in terms of, but it's just, the communication and collaboration, and access. It's just, I just think those are the biggest ones, and then there's something about the social emotional, just valuing that aspect of students. Is what's missing.
Dr. Marshall, is that a requirement for the third grade to be English speaking by third grade? Isn't there something about third grade and LCAS? I think it is. Isn't it?
They say it doesn't matter who you are, you're supposed to be reading at grade level by third grade, they don't divide
I
that.
think it's the EL students, I thought, no?
No, this is just what it is. They're looking at this as far as like, if you look at the whole student achievement, thing that they're graded on. Just like we're just talking about, there's certain grades that they target. I think they say reading is the one that's by third grade, and then you look at as far as the math by ninth grade when they start, for high school credit. Those are essential.
There's research behind kids who are not at grade level by third grade
Right.
are never gonna be at grade level, and there's a higher probability that they will drop out of school.
I heard the Parent Teacher Institute talk about proficiency for EL students by third grade.
Proficiency levels are different.
Oh, I'm sorry, language, English speaking. Is that right, Gary? Did we hear that?
What?
Is there anything from the group about EL students speaking fluent English at third grade? Did I hear that wrong?
No, it's not a grade, it's just that you talking about reclassification? Yeah, it's in all grades, not just third
Just
grade.
third grade, okay.
No, it's all grades.
But would they like them reclassified by third grade? Yes, but that's different than reading levels, proficiency levels. They take a test at the beginning of every year, and they're classified by language levels. And so they get a 1, 2, 3, or 4, I think it's still just 4, right?
Yeah.
And they want them to be reclassified.
By a certain grade?
Well, it depends on
Within
how they
X
come
amount.
in.
But
Yeah.
isn't there X amount of years that they want students reclassified?
Well, they come in at different years. First grade, second, third, fourth, fifth grade, they move in.
Right, they just look at I think this, like, we look at that one, they look at this is just looking at the whole.
Right.
Okay,
At the whole.
so
Reading at third
let's-
grade has nothing to do with your
Right.
Yeah.
English language
No.
proficiency.
Special ed, none of that. They basically, your big goal is that if you can get as many of the third grade as possible, then
You're on your path, you're on the path.
But you could also be reading at third grade level in your language.
right,
Yeah.
And that's equivalent to reading in English.
Right.
So, I mean,
right.
if they come to us in fourth grade and they're reading at the fourth grade level in their language,
The transition
The
over to
transition,
English is a lot easier.
yeah.
So 4 and 8 are in. What else needs to be in?
9, doesn't it?
So you wanted fiscal, yeah, 9.
Yes.
9's in. There's 3.
So,
We want 7,
Seven,
right?
definitely.
7's in, that's 4.
Dr. Marshall had said the SEL facilities, third grade one, fiscal, the partnerships and the communication.
What number?
Yeah, tell me numbers.
I don't know, I was just writing down
Okay,
whatever he
as
was
far as,
saying, so I wouldn't lose track.
2,
Something with number 1, except I'd like it words
yeah,
a little
words a little
different,
different.
but
4,
Yeah, we got 4, yep. 2, 4,
that needs to be.
7, 8, 9.
7, 8, 9, for sure.
That's 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's 5.
No.
2, 4, 7, 8, 9.
Number 1, 2.
One,
What's number
one,
one?
yeah, one tweak a little bit about social
Okay,
emotion.
that's 6. Uno mas.
But is it better to have an odd number?
You're 1 to 7.
What about number 3?
Yeah, I'm pretty,
Go specific to educators. You can wordsmith it, but it is one.
Oh, that is a powerful, actually,
Yes,
that one
agree,
shouldn't be
yeah.
forgotten. That's the whole,
And I think,
How you're getting in.
and number 3 talks about all, you know, kind of what y'all talked about earlier about all the students.
Okay, there you
All
go.
right.
Yeah, they'll be 7.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I actually started that one as really important.
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9.
Great.
Nice. Okay. Maurice, you wanna wrap this up? I just wanted to say, as a point of reflection, you all have such a positive, respectful dynamic that is clearly in our situation here productive, and it's been a pleasure to be a part of your process, so thank
We
you so
really
much.
do like each other.
I know, it's,
No, I mean, we do,
yeah,
genuinely.
it just is,
We take a class on that.
Yeah, we do. Doesn't mean that happens though.
yeah, it's an unparalleled education. So, anyway, go ahead, Maurice, and sum it up for us, and we'll service next.
Well, first of all,
steps.
praise, I want to praise your superintendent, he's strong. You know, I know so many superintendents, you know, I was one for 12 years, and I've learned so much from him as a friend. It was really interesting because when we went out, people really let their hair down. I can't get one negative comment about your chief, and that's pretty phenomenal. So thank you for your courage too. Your job is not easy.
No, it's not, Mark.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Yep.
District appreciates you.
I hope they do, yeah.
No, they
So-
do.
Let's talk about next steps, because I know we're just about on time here. The next steps will be, we're gonna take this, and we're like 99% there with your notes, so I'm
But you have
confident.
space to reflect, right?
Space to reflect. The next steps are that we will come back not until December 12th, because we're really busy in November, and that's when we'll come back. And that'll give time to Dave and our production crew to finish up your story, which is going really well, because Act 1 is, our interviews were fantastic. Those 2 weeks, we came in a couple days each. Thank you, Lori and Anthony.
Yes, you do, thank you.
They were,
I don't know about,
the 3-act story is your community. We really felt like, you know, there's so many partners that talk about the community. The second act is why is the strategic plan important? And the third act is the process. So the strategic plan itself is going to have some of these things in there, and it will have things at the end. We're gonna have to revise some of the graphics and the like at the end. But it's more about, we are Los Banos. And it's good. I mean, it's in full-on post-production right now with the color people and music, and but the script is done. It's looking good. Dave's in New York right now. He's gonna hit the ground running on that again next week. Most important point, back to the beginning, is what I worry about, what you worry about, is just becomes a document that's shelved.
Yes.
And there are definite ways we can help you. We have relationship with your leadership team, and unpacking this in terms of how does it go to action? What are the different committees against each direction, right? How does it get back to look at the board? What do dashboards look like? With
That include the
data people
values.
that include
Values,
the
values.
values. So this thing becomes a living, driving, breathing, very transparent plan. Ready for this? So that urgency does not displace the important, and that's kids.
So, with that in mind, like I said, please, and Dr. Marshall can sort of steward that process, but we will get your feedback or thoughts as you walked away. There's a couple of places where, you know, I may push back in so that you can give back to them as well.
yeah, equity.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine to do as well, just to help it out. And so that when we see you at the December meeting, you will have gotten it all buttoned up in the way that you gave your drafting input, which was very
Is
effective.
December 12th set in stone?
I don't know if it's the 12th, is it?
That's our 14th.
Wait, there's another
14th.
December
It's
12th? I
Thursday.
thought it was a Tuesday.
No, it's the 14th.
It's
Oh,
the
thank
14th.
you. So I was like, oh, I
I'm
will
so
be here, I
sorry.
don't wanna miss it.
Oh, I didn't
It's
It's at our
14th.
December 14th?
Yeah, I'm
It's your
sorry.
board meeting.
It's our board
It's
meeting.
your board meeting.
Yay, okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I just followed his lead, but
I
it's on my
know.
calendar.
When I saw that, I went,
Yeah.
no.
So will we,
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
will we be asked on December 14th to approve the document, or are we gonna be able to look at it before that?
I'm sure you can look at it
Yeah,
before,
I'll make sure
we'll
you
be
get.
done with it.
Yes,
She'll get it before that.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that is, that's the hope that you will have your buttoned up version.
Gus, we're
You'll
gonna
get
see
to
the movie too?
Everybody wants to see
Oh
everybody
my
wants to see the movie, yes.
The world premiere.
Yeah, there you go. I was hoping, the union president, she wants to see the movie, everybody wants to see the movie.
Great.
So we don't get to see it ahead of time.
He'll send it to us.
We'll see,
anytime.
oh, okay, cause it's
When I
like,
get it, I'll
oh,
see
we have to
We'll
approve
see
it, I hate
No,
to be,
he'll-
I hate
he'll-
to be
That's-
saying, I don't like it. No.
We'll see.
All right.
I'll fit it.
All right.
Dressed up. Oh, you can't say that, you don't look good, I'm sorry.
Oh my hair was awful that day.
Oh, whoa, get over it.
We're gonna, you have more agenda items?
No, actually,
yes,
we
Okay.
have to,
We have to finish.
we have to report out in closed session. So if we're done with this part,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's lunch, they got lunch
Thank
for
you.
y'all too.
Okay. Okay.
so,
And your work. Don't worry.
It's a bag lunch, you take it to go.
Okay, thanks.
all right, for the record, reporting out of closed session, student discipline cases, that are noted here, there were no action on any of those. They remain the same as the, report out from the, our last board meeting. And on item number 2, leave extension request, that was approved, a motion by Smith, seconded by Gattuso, with 6 yeses, no nos, and 1 absent. And with that, anything else, Dr. Marshall?
That's it.
All right, we are adjourned at 1:05.
All right, there's lunch, they got.
Okay,
Let's go.
sitting right back there. I have a Zoom.
Grab and go.